Hi there, good to see you again. Stephen Oliver, and I'm joined with Greg Moody and by Mindy Godfrey here. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the coaching process and the mentoring process that we use with our company and how that really works. And I've thought about it, narrowed it down into, it really has several components. One is what I'll call mentor teacher. Is oftentimes what happens with financial advisors, it doesn't matter how many alphabet soup you have behind your name and degrees and certifications and licenses and all that stuff. None of that taught you about marketing, about sales, about client relationships, about client retention. So oftentimes we kind of start with, here's principles of marketing, here's how online marketing is working, here's how software CRM systems can integrate with that, et cetera. But there's the teacher mentor side of staying current with what's really working right now and all of the areas that you weren't trained on to get your practice up and running, that marketing, the online, the offline, direct mail, etc. The second element is it's a peer environment. It's some people call it a mastermind. I think it's better to be thought in terms of a peer rapid experimentation environment where you're seeing what's happening right now out in the market. You're getting real-time numbers on what's happening on Facebook, what's happening on LinkedIn, what's happening in direct mail, what's happening in live events, what's effective for referral marketing, what's effective in practice management, what's effective in the percentage expense ratios, et cetera. But it's real time in comparison, benchmarking yourself with top 1%ers that are out there doing what it is you want to do in the field today and really seeing what's happening. And then the third piece of it is the coach. And that's different from the teacher mentor. The coach is somebody who's looking over your shoulder and helping to make sure that you get implementation, that you have immediate action orientation. I think of it in one sense as taking the to-do list from 50 points and bringing it down to this week, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. It's somebody who's an accountability partner, who's helping to show you what to do, but helping you make sure you motivate yourself and your staff to take those steps. And, and sometimes it's applause. It can be a lonely profession, and you sometimes you need a pat on the back. Oftentimes you need a kick in the butt. And I got to tell you, if anybody says one thing about, us is that we're blunt to the point. We're not there to make you feel good necessarily. We're there to help make you sure that your income goes up, that your headaches, get trimmed down, and that you have a chance to have a life while running your business and having your business run yourself. Greg, what would you add to that?
Well, what's great about what happens is that when you grow one part of your business, like you're growing your marketing, and we help people, go from sometimes really, really small expectations, getting one client, more client a month, or two more clients a month, to getting 20 or 30 more clients a month. It can be that dramatic a difference. And when you do that, then what happens is the other systems and pieces in your practice can break, and because you're not used to getting that many clients, or the lead flow is a lot higher. So what we can do is help you, as you said, along this path to fix all the rest of those systems. And that's why during this process, and when you're growing your business, a lot of times things break down, so we can help you with it as you go, so that it's not stressing you out. And what we also find is a lot of times that the practice is restricted or is small, sometimes not because of what you think it is. You might think, well, I just need more leads, or I need more prospects to be able to grow my business. It may not be that. You may be getting enough prospects, but you're not converting them into new clients at a good rate, or you could be getting clients at a good rate, but maybe they're not fully investing in all the services, or fully investing in your practice the way they could. We've talked to a lot of people that have added on other family members. Somebody's an older person and they're part of their practice, but they could get their other family members involved because that's who they're going to leave their money to anyway. So there's all kinds of other avenues for expansion that are not being considered. And so that's what kind of our job is to make sure that your growth is happening in one dimension, and then you're handling it really well in all these other dimensions too. So it's exciting to see people grow that way.
Well, and advisors who are really good with numbers and they're really good at rates of return and all that stuff, and looking at a 5-year, 10-year projection. Oftentimes they're horrible at looking at the numbers of their own business. And that's what you were addressing a minute ago is, how many unique visitors, how many, what's my conversion rate to opt-in? What's my conversion rate to appointment? What's my conversion rate to a discovery meeting? What's my conversion rate to a new client? What's my retention rate? What's the lifetime value of that client? Is we help people really get unshakable numbers and really take a look at, and by the way, when you're doing a lot of it yourself, the least objective person on your numbers is you, right? So we help you really keep track of those numbers, of getting an unshakable idea of what the return on investment is on your marketing effort, on your marketing dollars, what the conversion and closing rates are, what the retention rates are, and what the client satisfaction levels are. So we improve that return on investment. We improve that lifetime value of a client, but really get where you're managing your business with numbers the same way you would manage your client's wealth, by the numbers. And you're paying attention to that every day, every week, every month. We're paying attention to it with you every day, every week, every month, and then holding you accountable for what the good should be, what those benchmarks of excellent performance is, what the top 1% are doing to help you achieve those at the highest level.
Yeah, and that's what's really critical. When those things happen, when you're looking at those numbers, then it's almost like magic that you get better results. And you're getting better results, number one, because you're thinking about what's working, what's not working, how to improve it. But you end up being able to set higher goals and have higher expectations for what happens. And we see just massive improvement in the results that the advisors get that we work with. If you're, so you've got to really begin with an end in mind. But if you don't have the starting point, you can't have the end in mind.
Yeah. And the line, and I forget if it was Drucker or if it was Deming, but it's what gets measured gets done. And oftentimes, as an advisor, what you should be measuring for your client's portfolio and their retirement planning and their needs, but you don't know what should be measured for your own practice and your own performance on a day-by-day basis. What we do, we know which of the pieces we need to measure and pay attention to, and what the right ratio should be on the marketing efforts, on the sales processes, on the ongoing client processes, how the client contact should be managed, and how all that should be structured and organized. One, so nobody falls through the cracks, and two, so you don't end up, in those horribly low average client satisfaction numbers that permeate our industry, where you're on the top of their list, both for referrals and for satisfaction and for continued expansion of their relationship with you.
Yeah, if 60% of clients are looking for a different advisor or not happy with their current advisor, you don't want to be in that group.
No, you certainly don't. Although it's certainly a lot of them to pick up from other people, unfortunately. Mindy, what would you add to that? I mean, you're at the front line talking to an awful lot of advisors, many of whom are, not doing the numbers that they want to do and are probably looking the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think people come in a lot of times kind of flummoxed, not even knowing what they need. And the great thing about how we work with people is that it's a holistic approach. So we're really coming alongside you and working with you to help you achieve your goals. So it's really not about us doing it our way. It's about helping you do it the best way for you and making sure that everything works together. And I think the great thing is that through this process, so many times as an advisor, you are a lone ranger, and it's, maybe you or just a couple other people in your office. And so you don't have that sounding board. And so through this, you get the multiple levels of sounding board, where you get the coaching and the one-on-one look at your business, but you also have that opportunity to collaborate with people in ways that you probably don't get now. And so the combination is just a really, I think, helpful approach for the long term.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a good point, because when you get bombarded with a lot of people trying to sell you marketing, or they're trying to sell you this, or they're trying to sell you that, usually it's just a cookbook of things. or you subscribe to a newsletter, you subscribe to information. It's just a cookbook of things. So it's in what we know is that everybody's got a different niche. They're in a different area. They're different personally, and they've got different goals. And so, the person we work with in La Jolla that's working with tech executives is different from the person in Florida that's working with retired people. It's a completely different type of business that we got to help you with structuring it the way that's going to fit your goals. If you're getting close to, you want to sell the business in 5 years and get your AUM up so that it's a sellable business. That's a different model than the guy who's, 30 years old or 40 years old and he wants to, continue growing it for the next 20 years and get more people working with them. So those are all different things. It's very different. You're not building McDonald's. Yeah. So it's a really important thing to understand, but yet you're bombarded with all these other people selling you things, and it gets confusing. We get asked all the time, well, what do you guys do for us? Well, it's not really the same as what you're getting bombarded with.
Yeah. Should I, pay this guy for this LinkedIn thing, or this guy for the Facebook thing, or this guy to do my book for me, whatever? Well, maybe, but where we narrow it down in, I heard a couple people describe what we do as helping people see their blind spots. And we were talking with Lee Miltier, who works with us, she said the thing that impressed her most about what we do for clients is the look over your shoulder. They look over our shoulder to see what the methodologies are. And then we look over their shoulder to help them with accountability and prioritization. And, I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and they're like, I should do this, but I should do this, and I should do this, and this looks cool. And what about this? And what about this? It's like, no. We need to do A, B, and C. Well, what about this? Well, that would be nice. Let's do it next year, maybe. But right now, let's do this. It's going to turn into revenue. Let's do this. It's going to turn into revenue. Let's do this. It turns into revenue. So it all narrows back, kind of back where I started, is we do teaching mentorship of how each of these pieces are supposed to work together to create a new customer and to keep a customer, to create a client, keep a client. Then number two is we show you what's working right now in the field with some of the top 1%, the top 5% in our field, and what they're doing right now, what we've taught them to do, what they're doing effectively to create those kind of results. And then we help you stay on track where you don't end up with 22 things to do, the top 1, 2, and 3 on the to-do list, and the focused implementation, which keeps you from going crazy, keeps you from chasing rabbits everywhere, and really narrows in on keeping the brain damage low, keeping the net profit high, and getting a replicatable, systematic method to create new clients, to manage the client experience, and to retain them long term. Mindy, Greg, anything to add to that?
No, I think this is a good place to wrap up. I think we're really looking forward to working with everybody. And if we, when we do our first call with you, we can give you a good head start with that. Even one or two calls.
You bet. Well, thank you very much. Have a great day.